You don't leave your family unless you believe the fire is real. I met her when I was 36. She was 26, all green ambition and impossible laughter. She worked in marketing at the firm that contracted us, the kind of job where no one stayed long and everyone dressed like they might be photographed for a startup ad. Her name was Lily. She knew how to hold eye contact just long enough to make it feel dangerous. She didn't flirt the way young women sometimes do with older men out of irony or control. She did it like it meant something. And I believed her. I was married then. 12 years in. 1 kid. Mortgage, joint bank account, weekend grocery runs that felt like eternity. My wife, Claire, was a good person. I won't rewrite that. She gave me years of her life, and I gave her structure. We were solid. Predictable. Quietly suffocating. Lily, on the other hand, was chaos. And I mistook chaos for passion. It started with lunches, late meetings, jokes about how we shouldn't even be talking this much. She wore perfume that lingered on my jacket sleeves. She started sending playlists. Then photos. Then nights I lied about, happy hours that turned into hotel rooms. By the time I told Claire, the decision was already made. I thought I was being honest. I thought leaving with Lily was brave. But looking back now, I was just a man chasing the echo of his own youth and calling it love. Claire cried. My son didn't. He just went quiet for weeks. I moved in with Lily 6 days after telling them. She laughed when I brought too many clothes. Said we'd figure out a rhythm. And for a while, we did. But fire, no matter how warm it feels, always burns out. You just don't notice until the room goes cold. We got married 2 years later. She wore white. I wore guilt, even though I couldn't name it yet. There were only 20 people at the ceremony. My parents didn't come. Her friends clapped too hard. My son, 16 then, sent a text that just read, "Hope it's worth it." At the time, I thought it was. Lily was radiant. She had this hunger for life that made everything feel urgent: dinner at midnight, random trips to Mexico, dancing in the kitchen at 2 a.m. I didn't care that we didn't talk about the future. I was just relieved to feel anything again. But then time did what time always does. It started asking questions. About mortgages. About kids. About why she suddenly stayed out longer than usual, or why she left her phone upside down on the table. I wasn't paranoid. I wasn't jealous. I was just noticing. It started slowly. Missed calls. A new gym routine. Mentions of some guy named Aaron, a trainer, she said. Always just friendly. She invited me once. I didn't go. I was tired. 10 years older. Tired felt like a full-time job. I told myself not to read into it. I'd been the other man once. I knew how affairs bloomed. You don't start out planning to break something. You just find someone who makes you feel a little more alive, a little more seen, and then you start hiding things from them, from yourself. So when she said she had a work trip, 4 days in San Diego, I believed her. I helped pack her bag. I kissed her goodbye at the door. But something didn't sit right. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe it was karma. Either way, I opened her laptop the next day. She'd left it unlocked. And within 60 seconds, I saw the proof. Photos. A hotel receipt. A message thread that started friendly and turned familiar. Aaron. Not just a trainer. Not just friendly. There's a strange kind of silence that comes after confirmation. It's not shock. Not really. It's more like stillness. Like your body is too proud to panic. I didn't slam anything. I didn't throw the laptop. I didn't even scroll too far. Just enough to understand that the person I left my life for, the person who once swore I made her feel seen, was now sending late-night photos and hotel room numbers to someone with a protein shake in his hand. Aaron. Always Aaron. The messages weren't explicit. Not all of them. But they didn't need to be. Miss your mouth. You smelled like vanilla again today. San Diego was worth the lie. I closed the laptop and just sat there. I didn't think about Lily. I thought about Claire. About the night I left, and how she didn't scream either. She just looked at me like I'd already died. Maybe this was my reckoning. Maybe every man who trades stability for adrenaline eventually gets a front row seat to his own irrelevance. Still, I didn't confront Lily that night. I let her come home. She dropped her suitcase near the door and told me San Diego was overrated. She kissed my cheek. I kissed her back. And the whole time, I just watched. Not with anger. With distance. Like I was already somewhere else. I waited 3 days. I was calm. Present. Asked her about her day. Told her she looked nice. I even made her breakfast eggs the way she liked them, with too much salt and nothing green. And on the third night, I asked, "How was San Diego, really?" She paused. Just for a second. Long enough for the lie to get stuck in her throat. Then she smiled too quickly and said, "Busy." I barely slept. I looked at her. And for the first time in months, I really looked. Not at her body. Not at her hair or her hands. I looked at her like a man who knew the whole story already. "Tell me about the hotel," I said. "Which one was it again?" She hesitated. "Why?" "Just curious." She named a chain. The wrong one. I knew because I'd seen the booking confirmation with Aaron's name on it. I didn't flinch. I just nodded. And that's when something shifted in her eyes. She knew. She knew I knew. Her face didn't fall. She didn't cry. She just sat back in her chair and whispered, "Okay." That's all she said, "Okay." Like we just acknowledged the death of something without needing to identify the body. I didn't ask why. I didn't need to. I knew the answer. It was the same answer Claire probably gave herself after I left her. Because people don't cheat when they're missing something. They cheat when they're avoiding something. And Lily had finally seen something in me she didn't want reflected back, a man who knew what she was capable of, because he'd been capable of it too. Lily didn't apologize. Not that night. Not the next day. She didn't explain, didn't beg, didn't defend herself. That was what surprised me most. I expected excuses, maybe even tears. What I got instead was silence. But not guilt. Just distance. She started staying out later. Claimed she needed space to think. I let her have it. I slept on the couch, not out of punishment, but because the bed felt like a stage I didn't want to stand on anymore. We never fought. It was worse than that. We became polite. She started doing laundry again. Making her side of the bed. Smiling in that thin, hollow way that makes your skin crawl. As if going through the motions would rebuild the bones of what we were. But once you've lied with someone else in your head. Once you've rehearsed your truth in someone else's bed. There's no version of coming back. Not really. One night, I left a note on the table. Just 2 lines. "I'm not angry. I'm just done pretending we're still in the story we started." She didn't respond. Didn't call. Didn't follow. I moved out 3 days later. Packed my bags while she was at the gym, poetic, in a way. I left my ring on the bathroom sink. Took half my clothes and none of the photos. The silence in that apartment felt earned. Like the end of a bad movie you once thought was a masterpiece. People assume you'll hate the person who cheats on you. But the truth is, what I felt was something colder than hate. I pitied her. Not because she was young. Not because she didn't love me. But because she'd spent so long chasing novelty, she forgot how to hold anything with weight. She wanted attention. not commitment. She wanted affection, not memory. And I couldn't hate her for being who she'd always been. I just hated myself for thinking I could change the outcome by playing the lead in someone else's bad decision. I never called Claire. Never asked for her forgiveness. Because what was I going to say? You were right. She cheated too. I lost everything. No. Claire moved on. My son stopped returning my texts. I got an apartment near the water and started reading again. Cooking for one. Living with the quiet sound of my own choices. And I learned something in that space. Sometimes, the price of being chosen is realizing you were never what they wanted, just a way to feel new again. And the price of chasing youth is watching it run from you the second life gets real. I wasn't a victim. I was just the man who helped write the beginning of a story that had no business lasting beyond the first chapter. Let me know when you're ready for part 7, the final part, where reflection becomes acceptance and the husband finds peace, not from closure, but from finally telling the truth out loud. ChatGPT. Here's the final part, part 7 of The Younger Woman. This is where clarity replaces bitterness. The voice stays calm, quiet, and resolute, perfect for voiceover and internal reflection. Part 7, What I Never Said. I ran into Lily 6 months later. It was at a cafe near the train station. I was picking up coffee on the way to a client meeting. She was sitting outside with a friend, laughing, phone in hand, that same charm she always used when she wanted to appear untouched. She didn't see me. Or maybe she did and pretended not to. Either way, I didn't stop. I walked past and felt nothing. No ache. No jealousy. No anger. Just the odd weightlessness of seeing a ghost you used to believe was your future. That's the thing they don't tell you about betrayal, it doesn't kill you. It just empties you out. And then, slowly, you start filling back up with something quieter. Something better. I didn't go back to Claire. I didn't expect to. Some breaks stay broken, and some bridges should stay burned. But I started calling my son again. He didn't always answer, but sometimes he did. We talked about baseball. Work. The weather. Never about what I'd done. That part we left in the air between us. I'm 41 now. I wake up alone most days, and I'm okay with that. I walk more. Think more. I've stopped trying to outrun time. Sometimes I think about Lily. Not the version I left, but the version I fell for. The younger woman with the big eyes and sharp laugh who made me feel like I still had some magic left in me. She was real. But she was never mine to keep. And maybe that's what I've learned after everything. That being wanted isn't the same as being loved. And starting over doesn't mean starting with someone new. It means looking in the mirror and finally, quietly, saying, "You did this. And you survived."